It's time for Mac Geek Gab, and listener Craig brings us our quick tip, perhaps a little don't get caught of the week, by sharing something about his Wi-Fi mesh. He has a satellite. He's got his router in his office, which is next to the front door in a fairly central location at the front of the house, a satellite at the back of the house, and a satellite at the back left and a satellite at the back right. And he says, it has always stumped me that several devices that my wife uses in her she cave never connect to satellite 1. They always connect to the more distant satellite 2. And on occasion, satellite 1 would go haywire and have to be rebooted. Recently, in the midst of preparations for some visitors, we noticed that the problem connections and connectivity issues moved from satellite 1 to satellite 2. Interesting. He says, I scratched my head for a few days and then had a voila moment. My wife had moved a fairly large floor mirror to a different location in the back right of the house, and its normal location was directly between her she cave and the original problem satellite 1. With the move, she moved it very close to satellite 2. I surmised that mirror construction, including some metallic core materials, must then be the mortal enemy to Wi-Fi signals. A little chat with ChatGPT confirmed. So, watch placement and location of mirrors when setting up or at least troubleshooting your Wi-Fi. More tips like this, plus your questions answered today on Mac Geek Gab 1102 for Monday, August 11th, National Align Your Teeth Day 2025. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Mac Geek Gab, the show where you send in tips like that. You send in cool stuff found. You send in questions. We share it all. We answer your questions, we hope, all in an effort to ensure that we each learn at least 5 new things every time we get together. Our sponsors for this episode include Coda.io/MGG, where you can get 6 months of their team plan for startups for free. EternalStorms.at/bundle, where you can get a whole bundle of Eternal Storm stuff. Yoink, Transloader, DeskMat, so many cool things. IDEOU.com/MGG. You get 15% off these practical, relevant courses designed to seamlessly transition you from theory to practice. Strawberry.me/MGG, or you can use code MGG to claim your $50 credit while you discover what's possible with a professional coach by your side. And Webroot.com/MGG, where you get 50% off Webroot Total Protection or Webroot Essentials. We'll talk more in depth about each of those throughout the episode. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And here in South Dakota, I'm Adam Christensen.
And here also in New Hampshire, it's Pilot Pete and show 1102. Wow, we're cranking them up there. And the only meaning this week is it's sequentially numbered. No other hidden meanings, codes, anything else I could think of. You guys got anything?
Well, I mean, I'm just excited about show 1111. That's
coming.
It's been a while since we've had 4. I mean, we've never had 4 numbers in a row.
This is our first 4.
This would be the first. And I don't want to say the last, but I'll say the last for a good long while.
At least another 20 years and change.
Unless we start doing daily episodes.
Right?
Oh, man. I think if we started doing daily episodes, we might have to stop focusing so much on the episode number.
Right.
But anyway, yep. I'm curious about something. We Apple Podcasts for years has said don't put the episode number in your titles in Apple Podcasts. In fact, they will sometimes even filter them out if they can.
Interesting.
Sometimes. But they say don't put it in there because that's, there's another place in Apple Podcasts through like metadata where we can put the episode number in. And so we come up, our titling methodology, if you will, is that we usually find something that we've said during the show, a little quote or something, and put that in there. And it's very much inside baseball. I'm like, we used to use what I considered boring and informative things. Like we talked about Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi, Face ID, and battery limits. Like that was it. Which do you? Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. Well, there were. Oh, I know that there was more than one. Oh my on titles. So I'm curious what the audience thinks about it, but I'm also curious. Like we three have never really had this conversation, and it seems we're in it. So let's have it. Like, what do you think, Adam, about dark?
I mean, for 19 years, I did mine exactly the same, but
That's true.
It was born out of the early days of podcasting when you had an iPod and you were trying to get through things. So I had straight like numbering with a date and like the name of the podcast, and that was about it. I never did that kind of custom naming thing. That kind of came later, I think, again when we had actual podcatchers and things that handled metadata, like my naming conventions, and what I learned was that my audience did not take well to change ever. They were not really open to it, so I didn't mess with too many things because it was working.
Fair.
And there was no reason to. Like nobody ever complained about the titles of the show, and so I didn't even change when Apple did their thing. I like it. So like, this is how I've done it. This is what people expect. It sorts in the right order because, I did the dates the right way and, all that fun stuff. So I think
how about you, Pete?
Easier for people to figure out.
Do you have an opinion on what we do for what we do here?
I like the custom titles, and I remember the conversation when we started. So there I was. You said that very thing. Apple says kind of don't put it in the show title. Just don't do it. And I had new listener Allison look over my website for accessibility, and she's got a good eye for that sort of stuff. Yeah. She tore it apart, man. That was like getting my masterpiece opus back from the teacher, all marked up in red ink. You didn't do this, you need to do that, and it was all great constructive criticism. And she said, put the show number in the title. Yeah, and I said, but Apple says
on the website. Oh no. Yeah, on the website, yes.
Yeah. But I actually put it in the title itself, too, because she goes, I don't care what Apple says. Put it in there. It's easier for your people to find what they're... So I've done that from show one.
So, but you can do a custom title just for Apple Podcasts. So for MGG, on our website, the episode number is 100% there.
Yeah.
For Apple Podcasts, it is not there, and that's something you can set in the metadata.
Down in Blueberry Press or PowerPress, right?
PowerPress.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just put it across all of them, and Apple's never griped at me about it or taken it out, to my knowledge, that I've seen.
No, but they do. They have not. They don't say anything, but there is some. They advise you not to. They are very clear about that. And there is some evidence to support them not highlighting shows that don't adhere to their guidelines. And that's certainly true if your images aren't the right sizes, all of those things. So
I comply with all of that, but I've always put the episode number in. Maybe I'll take it out of the one at the bottom where you put it in for PowerPress and see.
Correct.
See if we grow.
All right. So we really haven't answered the question, though. So I'm going to ask the question to the audience, and if either of you have an answer that you want to share to this, otherwise we'll move on because we actually have a show to do. But I'm mainly curious to people who have found the show recently. For those of you who have been with us for a long time, first of all, thank you. It's like one of the most amazing things we get to experience together here. But for those of you that have been once you're in, I'm curious what you think about the titles too. But that's more of our inside baseball thing, and I love that. Where I'm curious for relatively new listeners is, did the titles help you decide to start listening or not? Right, and if so, why? Because that is to me. The titles serve two purposes. One, our inside baseball thing that we can all sort of, get behind and enjoy and have as us, and I don't mean just the three of us. I mean all of us. And then there's the we want to bring new people into the family, the right?
Yeah, you want to hook.
Of course. We want to hook them. Right, exactly. So did the titles hook you? What type of titles would hook you? And so that was really the question I was trying to get to. Feedback at MacGeekGab.com.
You heard him. Feedback at MacGeekGab.com.
That's right, Pete. Feedback at MacGeekGab.com. Dave, can I just add one last thing on that, though?
Yeah.
Because, again, this bugs me, and I just had to pick up my phone and check. So, it's like Apple says that, but like in the podcast app UI, the dates are there, but they're like really small. And also, they do that whole relative thing. Maybe there's a setting for this, but it'll say, this was 5 days ago or 1 week ago, or like.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was just liked having a date or a number in the title because as you're scrolling through, I think this is to Allison's point that Pete brought up, you can see that, like there's no question about it. It's like, okay, that's that one. That's that one. Oh, I've got them in the wrong order.
Yep.
Yeah.
At a glance on your device. So that was the main reason I always kept them in.
All right. Shall we go to quick tips?
Well, I got one quick question.
Uh-oh.
On the opening, remember I said that I had a question pre-show about the opening.
Yes.
If mirrors are the mortal enemy of Wi-Fi, can they be the best friend?
No.
Properly positioned?
If you want to block Wi-Fi from a certain area,
I'm thinking
that's all they're going to do.
To reflect
no reflection.
No. Okay.
No. They will just block it. Go ahead.
Sorry, the issue is the metal content. So another
they
one
act like a Faraday cage. Not a.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right.
I'm assuming they probably don't use silver anymore, but whatever there's metallic material in there. So the real thing is it's not mirrors are the enemy of Wi-Fi. It's metal is the enemy of Wi-Fi.
Fair enough.
Anybody who's ever like one of my first apartments condos that I bought was all metal frame studs.
Yep.
And that'll even mess with it. Even though between, the 16 inches, is that right? I'm not a contractor.
16 on center.
Yeah. So the 16 inches between studs, even though that's not there, like that just having the metal caused extra problems versus like wood or something like that. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. And I would say even to a certain degree, like solid surfaces, like if you have lap and plaster walls and stuff like that, I think that can even be a problem, just density of material.
And depending on what the material is, we had a long conversation about this. I think it was the three of us about, some types of, I guess it's plaster, I'm not sure exactly, but are put on a metal mesh and some are put on wood, right? And so the ones on the metal mesh that you wouldn't necessarily see unless you were the one that did it, but moving into a place, you would that can also be a huge problem. Again, because of the metal. It's but you're right, Adam, density of material. Stone is bad. Yeah.
So, all right.
Sorry
Cool.
for the rabbit hole.
So I got a quick tip from Andrew. Andrew says, Hi, Andrew. In a recent episode, there was a story of a person who wished to clear out certain words or a spelling of a word from his device's memory. It can be done without a complete Nuke and Pave. You can Nuke and Pave just your keyboard dictionary and learned words under Settings, General, Reset Keyboard Dictionary. And that's it.
Huh. Love that.
Boom.
That's yep. Huh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll take it. I like it. You got the next one, right, Pete?
Oh, I do. Okay.
Oh no,
Bruce?
it's me. Sorry, I jumped all over the place. Craig shared something that is interesting. He says he credits Gary at Mac Most for covering how much better in the Finder Inspector is than Get Info. He says when in a Finder window, you can always right-click on a file and choose Get Info. But did you know that if you right-click and then press Option, that Get Info will be replaced with Show Inspector. This also happens in the menu bar, of course, if you want to do it that way too. Inspector has all the goodies of Get Info, but with a few additional bonuses. Inspector has the advantage of being sticky in that you can select another file in the Finder window and Inspector will stay on the screen as you hop from file to file. And you can You can actually hop from file to file using the arrow keys if you have your stuff, in a list or a grid. So you can sort of drive around really quickly and see all that stuff. He says, so try changing your memory brain cells to use Inspector instead of Get Info. You may be glad you did. And he shares a little bonus tip that you can, if you don't want to do it with the right click, you can make this happen with Option, Command, and I. So Command I is Get Info. Option, Command I is Inspector. So
that's cool.
The other thing I'll add to that shortcut is if you select multiple items, and if you just do Get Info, it will open multiple info windows. Whereas if you have multiple items and do the Option trick, Command Option I, it will open the Inspector, and the Inspector will allow you to inspect basically multiple items. It'll say you have 3 items and give you like the total size of all 3 and some other things. So it'll group those things together in a single info panel instead of having separate info panels.
So if I want to see how big 4 files are, I select those 4 files and I do an Inspector, and it will calculate the size and all of that for me.
Yeah. Oh, that is slick.
That's pretty good.
I like that.
Yeah. I'm sure I've seen that before. I don't know that I ever thought about it that way. Yeah. Huh. Love it. Great. All right. We talked about butt dialing in last week's episode. I don't know that we called it that, but that's what we talked about, where people were making phone calls that they did not intend to. It's more like pocket dialing, I suppose. We have a couple of comments on that. You want to take us to Bruce?
Yeah, Bruce wrote in with something that none of us considered when we were chatting about this. He says, the problem I was running into wasn't pocket dialing so much as my podcast playback getting screwed up. He said, I'd lock my phone, put it in my pocket, and sometimes the podcast playback went forward, backward, skipped to the next episode in Overcast. I'd take my phone out of my pocket and it would be unlocked and the phone would be in Overcast, possibly from the activity widget on the home screen. I thought about it a bit. How could the phone get unlocked? Well, in my pocket. And one day I saw the notice that this phone was unlocked with Apple Watch. I turned that feature off, and I think the problem has gone away. This might be the answer to the pocket dialing discussed in 1101. With Face ID, I don't really need to unlock with Apple Watch for my phone, and I still find it useful for my Macs. This is in Settings, Face ID, and Passcode, most of the way down the screen. Bruce. Wow. Right, hidden in plain sight, right in front of us the whole time.
Yeah.
I think that may be it.
That may be it for some people.
One possibility, certainly.
Yeah. I mean, I think we touched on the most common issue, which is simply leaving your phone unlocked when you put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like getting into the habit of locking your phone before you put it in your pocket, I think is probably the easiest, the most common way of avoiding these things. But yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. I have that setting turned on my phone, the unlock with watch, and I don't have problems pocket dialing people that I know of. So I say, yeah. So anyway, go ahead.
No, Kiwi Graham in chat just mentioned the iPhone screen needs to be awake for that feature to work. So it's not likely to happen in your pocket.
Okay.
Unless maybe if you're in bright, will it wake up? Because it'll wake up when it detects like light or movement, right? So maybe if you're in a really bright environment and have thin shorts, I don't know. Like what would wake up your phone in your pocket? I would think that normally the sensor would keep it asleep, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, remember, you hit volume up, volume down, and the power button briefly, and that'll lock it, and it ain't coming undone without your passcode being entered. So
that's true. Yep.
That may be a way to troubleshoot. So.
Steve has 2 ways of mitigating the unintentional launching of the phone app, which again I think is probably a limited use case or a limited problem case for these or cause of these pocket dials. I think we've kind of identified the main one. But if the problem is that the phone app is launching without your intention, he has 2 potential solutions. One is easy. Starting with iOS 18, you can do this. Long press the phone app and choose Require Face ID so that the phone app cannot launch without Face ID. Again, we think the problem is more likely that the phone app is already launched when you put it in your pocket, but that's one. And the other, which would be far more difficult, or far more involved than that, but certainly accomplishes the same thing, is create a Boots and Suspenders Siri shortcut automation requiring a passcode once the phone app is launched, and therefore prior to tapping a name or dialing a number. And he created a thing where it says, when the phone is opened, ask for number with a passcode. If the passcode is correct, great. Otherwise, open Safari instead. So essentially, the logic is if you type the right passcode, you get to stay in the phone app. If you don't type the right passcode, you are brought to a different app, aka Safari. So, interesting stuff. We have more quick tips to share. We have some don't get caughts to share. And we also, the next thing we want to share is our sponsors because, well, you've heard me say it before, don't get caught. And when it comes to online security, that couldn't be more true, right? And that's why I'm glad that our sponsor, Webroot Total Protection, exists. Think of it like a security system for your digital life. Antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more, all bundled into one ultralight, super fast package that protects up to 10 devices at once. And you can get 50% off Webroot Total Protection or Webroot Essentials when you go to webroot.com/MGG. It's like Webroot saw every vulnerability and said, we've got it. From dark web monitoring to real-time threat detection, and it's all built in. And it installs in seconds and takes up almost no space. Seriously, it uses 33 times less storage than the competition. And like I said, right now, you can get 50% off Webroot Total Protection or Webroot Essentials when you go to webroot.com/MGG. This is the best offer they're running right now, and you have to use our URL to do it. So again, get 50% off Webroot Total Protection or Webroot Essentials when you go to webroot.com/MGG. Don't get caught without protection. Live a better digital life with Webroot. Visit webroot.com/MGG and grab that 50% off. And our thanks to Webroot for sponsoring this episode. All right, so the clock is ticking. The days are rolling by, turning into weeks, months, years. We spend nearly a third of our waking hours at work. But the unfortunate truth is that for so many of us, that time is languishing away in a job that you've outgrown or one that you never wanted in the first place. But, we stick with it when we say things like, well, what if the next move is worse, or I can't afford to take the wrong step, or isn't everybody kind of miserable at work? The answer is no. And don't fool yourself. There is a difference between reasons for staying and excuses for not leaving, and it's time to get unstuck. And that's exactly what our sponsor, Strawberry.me, can help you do. They match you with a certified career coach who helps you go from where you are to where you actually want to be. And I've set this up for me. I'm an entrepreneur, used to solving things on my own, but it's helping me set some priorities and get things done and do the things that I want to do to get my business to the next place, right? Because your coach helps you get clear on your goals, identify your blind spots, create plans, all that stuff. And perhaps the best part, at least for me, is that a coach will keep you accountable along the way so that you actually do the things, not just talk about doing them. So don't leave your career to chance. There's still plenty of time to take action, time to own your future with a professional coach in your corner. Head to strawberry.me/MGG to claim a special offer and get started. That's strawberry.me/MGG. Stop settling. Start building the career you actually want. And our thanks to strawberry.me for sponsoring this episode. And you know how much we love tools that just work. And you've heard us rave about Yoink, ScreenFloat, and Transloader here on Mac Geek Gab. And now you can get them all together, plus a fourth app in the Eternal Storms Productivity Bundle on the Mac App Store. So Yoink is that temporary shelf for your Mac. Drag, copy, or share something, and Yoink holds it for you while you wrangle your windows and apps like a boss. Love it. ScreenFloat is your screen capture power tool. Screenshots, screen recordings, floating references, even OCR and redaction. It's got you covered. Transloader lets me start downloads on my Mac from my iPhone. This has been a game changer. Love this thing. And the new one, I said there was a new one, called DeskMat. This instantly covers your desktop for clean screen sharing, focus sessions, or blur privacy. You can even automate it with focus filters or app triggers. Very, very cool. And you get all four for about 20% off in one slick package. You can head to eternalstorms.at/bundle to grab it. I love Yoink and this transloader. Man, don't get caught. Go to eternalstorms.at/bundle now. And our thanks to the folks at Eternal Storms for making all these great apps and for doing this with us. Yeah. More quick tips, Adam.
Yeah. We got Joe, and Joe wrote in. He says, just a quick comment regarding how to organize screws when taking stuff apart. We had talked about doing like repairs and keeping track of all your screws and stuff like that in the previous episode. He says, pill organizers. You can get 7-day morning and night large slot pill organizers for cheap at Walmart and other places. Just label them 1 through 7 and the flip and then flip it and then do 8 through 14. The doors snap closed when you're done with a step, preventing them from accidentally falling out if it gets knocked around or something like that. Then just install in reverse. If following the instructions, just write pill 1, etc. on, next to your instruction, and then you know where the screws for that step were. So later, Joe from Raleigh. That's a great tip.
I love that.
Yeah, those are definitely readily available and cheap. I think, Dave, you might have mentioned, and I don't know if we called out a specific one, but that you have a mat or something that you use. And I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of my tools for doing repairs and stuff like that come from iFixit, one of my favorite sites. That's where I go for all my instructions usually too. Great. But iFixit sells a lot of tools and stuff like that. And one thing that they have that's really cool is something called the Fix Mat. It's an actual working mat, and it has little trays at the top that you can organize, but then the mat itself has a grid on it, and it's magnetic. So you can put stuff down on there on the grid, and not only that, it has a pen that comes with it that you can write and then erase on the mat. So you can label right on the mat what your step is and all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's a little more expensive than pill organizers at about $36. Might be able to find it cheaper on Amazon or other places, but nice little product.
Yeah, with a little either dry erase or I would guess dry erase pencil, but
I think that's what it is.
But it erasable, whatever it is. Yes,
but then the magnet will hold your screws and parts in the same way. But I do really like that. The pill organizer is obviously again really cheap, and you can get it from probably anywhere, almost anywhere in your any drugstore. Walgreens, Walmart.
Fun.
Whatever.
Cool. One more follow-up quick tip before we move on here. From David, back in episode 1099, we were at MacStock. He says, I listened to your episode, and I have the same problem with my dock moving to my secondary monitor for no good reason. I can't explain why it happens, but I can suggest a quick remedy. I wrote an AppleScript, and we've got it in the show notes, that moves the dock back to the main monitor in the event that this happens. And it is a one-line, well, it's not really a one-line AppleScript, but it's short. And he says, to make the process even easier, I've created an app out of the script that I keep in my dock. So I am literally one click away from getting my dock back to the main monitor, and I don't have to click and drag and do all the other things. He says, I hope that this helps others with the same issue. Yeah, for sure. You can take this, put it into Script Editor, and then run it. Make sure it does what you want it to do, which you can do right in Script Editor for AppleScript. And then you can save it as an application so that it essentially runs standalone on your Mac, which is a great way to leverage AppleScript. And this is a good, if you've never messed with AppleScript before, this is a nice kind of easy entry to it, and a useful one if you're having this problem of your dock jumping around from screen to screen. So I guess I should consider myself fortunate. I have multiple screens on every one of my Macs, and my dock never moves. But I keep my dock all of my screens are to the right of my main screen's in the middle, and then my second screen is to the right. I don't have screens on right and left of my primary screen. Even when I have 3, it's off to the right or behind me. If you watch the live show, because there is a screen back there that just shows our logo usually. But I keep my dock on the left side of the screen as the gods intended. So, there you go. Is it time to move on? Any?
Move on, folks. Nothing to see here.
Well, nothing to see. All right, great.
Actually, a quick question, Dave. Did I see somewhere in the mail that we were talking about the previous tip, the whiteboard or the fix-it mat, and I talked about someone using a Sharpie permanent ink. Did someone write in and say just write over that with if you don't have alcohol, write over that with a whiteboard marker, and it should loosen it up, let you erase it?
I have heard that
Yeah.
I saw that tip. I have not tried it. So the tip is, like you said, if you've written in permanent ink on a whiteboard, you can usually loosen up that ink by writing over it with a dry erase marker.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's worth a shot.
Alcohol will work, but if you don't have any rubbing alcohol around, then that's to get rid of the permanent. So,
want to bring us to a don't get caught here, Pete?
I'm going to. And you know what? I just realized when I went to read the don't get caught from Antony, he sent in a rather nice voice. Don't get caught, and in a lovely British accent, which I will not try to imitate. But essentially, it boils down to this. Antony had a long day ahead of himself, and he normally keeps his iPhone on don't charge past 80% in order to preserve the battery life, extend the battery life of his iPhone. But you can go into the settings and say, hey, you know what? Go ahead and charge it to 100%. I got a long day tomorrow. Charge it to 100%. And the thing comes up and it says, do you want to do this permanently, or do you just want to do it till 6 a.m. tomorrow? And 6 a.m. tomorrow doesn't always mean 6 a.m. tomorrow, because Antony got up and it was about 5:30, 5:40, something like that. He put it on, charge it to 100%. And yes, leave it only there until 6 a.m. tomorrow. He went and got in the shower and got ready, got dressed and all that stuff. And he grabbed his phone to go out of the house. And 6 a.m. tomorrow was actually 6 a.m. today. So don't get caught by assuming that tomorrow means tomorrow. When it's before 6 a.m. on the same day, it's going to change back. And so he had to leave the house with, like 83%. And that's as far as it went that day.
Yeah.
So
tomorrow doesn't always mean tomorrow.
It means the next the upcoming 6 a.m. Apple's got that written wrong. I understand what the process, right? It's it will reset at 6 a.m. From whenever you've enabled it. So from now until 6 a.m. Yeah.
But it does say tomorrow in the phone settings, so don't be fooled. Don't get caught.
That's it. Yeah, that's a good catch. Yep. I don't think I've ever experienced this problem myself, but I have seen this happen, and I'll explain what it is. When you create an event in Apple's Calendar app and you put people in there, and then you say send the invite, you expect it to send the invite. And if you are linked to an iCloud calendar, it does. Usually. There's always some weirdness with it, with iCloud, because it sends it through iCloud. It doesn't send it from your email client. Where it gets even more weird is if you have a Google calendar, because you can you can log into your Google account and have Google calendars appear in Apple Calendar too. So if you didn't know that, there's a bonus little quick tip, and it's wonderful. If you have an event on your Google Calendar and or add an event to your Google Calendar and you add attendees to it, sometimes it won't send out the invites to them. And Apple Calendar assumes that Google has. The way you can confirm is by going into your Google Calendar's web interface and looking at the invite list for the event. If there is an invite list there, it has sent invites to those people. If there is not, then it has not sent invites to those people. And I was testing this with Jeff Q, who has worked with us at Backbeat for decades. And we had an event, and I was like, how many people have replied? He's like, none. I'm like, well, that's wrong. I'm like, also, I'm on the invite list for that event, and I've never gotten an invite. And so we dug in and we found this. And so we did some testing. Same setup, same Apple Calendar, same Apple Calendar app, I should say, same Google Calendar that he's linked to. He invited me to an event, a week later. I got the invite immediately. We looked, it was there. Sent the invite to the 15 people or however many, maybe it was more than that. And that nothing made it through. I don't know if it's related to the number of people that are on the invite list, maybe, but just be aware, you get no error message at all. So if you are inviting people to an event and you're synced to a Google Calendar with Apple Calendar, check it in Google Calendar every single time. And if it doesn't put them there, you can then add them on the Google Calendar side and it will do its thing. That's totally, and it'll manage the whole invite list and you'll see who said yes and all of that stuff. So just FYI. Don't get caught. Yeah.
And now there's Apple invitations, right? In the new.
Yeah, that's kind of different, but yeah. It's very different, in fact.
It's a whole different.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. Yeah.
Go to the Apple walled garden.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
but
yeah.
Everybody
exactly.
else has to be there, I guess. Well, they don't have to be, but
No.
yeah. All right.
I think there's a web interface for those.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a replacement for Evites or something from
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah, that's a better
Everybody using
example of what
Evite, right?
that's for.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can take us to Scott, who has a don't get caught because he got caught. He wrote, "Hi, Dave, Adam, and Pete. He says, sorry, got stuck there, but it's in his name, repeat. So anyway, he says, maybe it's just me, but I got caught with AirPlay. He says, I discovered I could not adjust the audio level in the music app on my Mac. I got to the point where I trashed the music and music EQ plist files. He says, what I discovered was I continued to ponder why this problem occurred, and I realized that it must be related to AirPlay. I was recently using my JBL Charge 5 Wi-Fi, and instead of disabling AirPlay from the Mac, I turned the speaker off. I recreated the same situation and learned that changing the volume on the Mac affected the local audio and the audio level on the speaker. Turning off the speaker without disabling AirPlay created a situation where I could no longer change the audio level in the music app. Disabling AirPlay within the music app for that device restored the ability to adjust the audio. He said, I assumed incorrectly that if the speaker was no longer available, the app or AirPlay would automatically disable it, and it doesn't. So he was not able to control his volume level because he turned his speaker off before disconnecting it.
Huh.
So, yeah. So, best regards to Scott.
That's... Huh.
I don't know if that's universal, but it
yeah.
I've
I don't
seen,
think it is.
I've seen some similar behavior with my Apple TV and volume, but that's a whole different thing. But
interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's using, it's one of those apps that enhances audio and might be inserting itself into the chain.
Oh, something like Boom or...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Boom or Sound Source or, something. I don't know. That's, huh. Yeah. Yeah,
good question.
Kiwi Graham in the chat says, perhaps the speaker is sleeping and isn't actually off. So the Mac thinks it's sending sound to it, but it's not getting it or it's not playing it. I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
Yeah, sounded like you couldn't get it locally to change the volume, though. That's the weird thing. You'd think, pressing the volume button on your Mac would change the volume on your Mac, but no.
Yeah, interesting. Huh. Crazy stuff. Send in your stuff to us, feedback at macgeekgab.com, like we said.
Yeah.
What about cool stuff?
Let's do cool stuff.
Got a couple cool stuffs for you. Here, Seth wrote in with one. He said, hey, guys, I'm sure I'm not the only one who wishes that Apple's password app was as full-functioned as 1Password. Well, here's the perfect companion to the password app that fills the void. It's called Access Private Vault. It's on the App Store. We'll have a link to it in the show notes. It does everything that 1Password does except save passwords. It uses iCloud storage, gets listed under advanced data protection for end-to-end encryption, and is reasonably priced with single, family, and lifetime plans. Plus, you can import directly from 1Password as well. So this is the idea behind this app. I was a little confused by it, so I went and looked. You use the password app for your passwords and passkeys, but then for everything else, like you can do in 1Password, like driver's licenses, all medical cards, ID cards, memberships, gift cards, gear notes, like all those other categories, I would assume software licenses, those sorts of things.
Yep.
You could put all that in here, and so like those two together basically equal essentially 1Password.
Huh. And it's about half the price. An annual license, an annual family license is $25, and I'm pretty sure I just paid about $60 for my annual 1Password license, give or take. It was less than 60, more than 55, I would think. So yeah, huh.
And family lifetime $89.99.
And lifetime for $89.99. That's interesting. We were talking a little bit about this pre-show. I still use 1Password, and obviously I just paid my family annual license again. Adam,
ditto.
Yes, I love 1Password, and I have the family license. I wish my family would use it more, but I try.
Amen,
they do
brother.
use it occasionally, so I'm slowly converting them. But it's been a multi-year process, and I think I have one daughter who will actually use it fairly regularly because that's where the streaming passwords are.
Yep.
And the Amazon password. They like it when they can order stuff and it goes on our credit card.
For sure.
Yeah. But outside of that, I'm stuck with 1Password. I will probably be a 1Password user for forever, although I am using the password app for more and more things, if I'm being really honest.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be honest. We generally are here. Yeah.
My kids have no teeth left because I'm done pulling them trying to get them to use 1Password. Debbie's actually pretty good about using it. She finds the value in it that I find.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
at least partway there.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, my family's pretty good at using it for sure. I make sure that we have things in there that are valuable for them to have access to in a shared vault. Yep. So that it encourages them to keep it up to date and that sort of thing. The things that I have in there are our passports, so that when we're traveling, because I pester the crap out of my family. If they gotta, like my daughter just updated her passport and I knew it, and I went to put it in to a flight and I knew that the old one was in 1Password, and so I was like, yeah, you got to go put it in 1Password so that I have it, and like that kind of thing. Software licenses, I think I mentioned recently, we keep in there so that, when they want something, it's like, yeah, go get it in 1Password. And then that way they have it on all their devices and everything's there. But every year I think about moving to, I have a Bitwarden server set up that I set up on my Synology, and I just haven't moved to it yet. And I keep thinking it's the right thing for me to do. Obviously, I'm a nerd, have all of the, I already, like the server's set up. I just haven't migrated anything to it. And I suppose one way to do it would be to set it up for Backbeat, for the company stuff of the passwords that I need to share with like Sadie and Jeff and perhaps even you guys. We don't really have passwords that we share, I don't think. But anyway, those kinds of things, and test it so that I'm not just deciding on one day to just move everything in there. If I use it enough, then I might, come March of next year, I might be like, all right, now it's time to make the jump and, and then not renew my 1Password in whatever it is, July or something. But I love 1Password. It works so well.
Yeah.
So anyway, That's my thought process. Yeah.
We use that at my office. The main reason is because of PCI compliance. Being an e-commerce company, they want to avoid having those kinds of things on a third-party cloud service. Something the company needs to be in control of.
Yeah.
That data. And that's like the key critical thing. I think in our case, it's not even accessible. I don't believe it's not accessible outside our VPN. I have to be VPN'd in to even get to that server.
To be able to sync with your with your Bitwarden, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like, so if I'm not on corporate VPN, I cannot even get to my passwords.
That makes sense.
For reasons.
Yes.
And I will say it works pretty well. I don't find the user interface as nice and polished and friendly as 1Password. That's the only thing I'll give it. But I mean, all the functionalities there, you can put in your one-time codes. You can, store all kinds of stuff in that. You can create collections, which are basically like folders, where you can group things together. And
sure.
So, I mean, it's pretty nice. And that is a huge advantage for someone who wants, not to have their stuff in somebody else's cloud and be in full control of that data.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Cool. We got one last cool stuff found. One less.
One more.
There's less. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll comment up front that I forgot that these existed. And I meant to get one a long time ago. And if you do any traveling and plug any device of yours in to somebody else's USB for a power source, you need one. Kevin writes in, "Hello, gentlemen." Thank you. "I've been a long-time listener of the show, going back into double digits. Well, that's over 1,000 now. So I never miss an episode. The side chats about travel, everyday challenges, etc. are every bit as interesting and entertaining as the actual tech. But I thought I'd share this cool stuff found regarding USB-C. The item is a USB-C data blocker. Only the power pins are enabled. I love this solution to ensure absolute hardware security against data hijacking when plugging into USB ports that might not be trustworthy. I use this on work computers, public ports, etc. Admittedly, I rarely actually have a real-world need for these, as charging into a wall or using battery pack is probably a better practice anyway. However, when the need arises and I pull these out of my bag, I have a small feeling of triumph over any possible USB hijacking attempts. We'll put the link in the show notes. Love the show and keep up the awesome work. Kevin from Edmonton." So, yeah, I can't believe I don't have one.
Yeah, I mean, I've known about these obviously for a while. Yeah. I don't have any either. But
it just, the black hats are getting cleverer and cleverer.
Yeah. Our Apple devices ask us, though, if we want to connect via data to or our iPhones, I should say, and our iPads. Our Macs, no.
Yeah. How long before someone figures out how to bypass that?
I mean, I don't think you do.
Right. I don't think so either right now, but.
Well, but I mean, like it's a social hack, right? You would, you would have to accept on your phone that there's no way for the device to like bypass that.
Yeah. Until there is. I mean, I could be wrong, but
Apple
it seems
doesn't
to me,
provide that though. You're right.
Format C : echo Y. Somebody.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to trust this? Echo yes.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. I would presume too, these are cool, but I think you can just get power only cables too, right?
Yes.
True. Yeah.
Yes. But as we talked about in the last episode, traveling with power only cables becomes a headache. Yeah, it could be dangerous. Right. Yeah, exactly. But yes, that would be, the thing to have in your airplane kit, is only that. But I don't know.
Make sure it's labeled very, very well.
Yeah.
Or if you could get them in only red or something like that, that would be good.
There you go. Yeah. And
I would be, go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's $10. No, it's $10. It's not you are correct, Pete, that having this is a good thing. Assume,
assume the worst.
Right. Exactly. We don't hear from people about this problem, but all it needs, it's binary, right? It's not what percentage of the time does it happen, is did it happen to you or not? And if the answer is yes, then you would wish that you had spent the $10 on a pack of these.
Yeah. Let me say it this way. I had a friend who once might have worked for an agency that had 3 letters or so.
Sure.
Who stated that, at the state level, they can use your power cord to get your data. Okay, that seems awfully far-fetched, but...
Sure, right.
But I also know that another country's air defense systems got shut down by some stolen printers once, many decades ago.
It's true.
So...
Yep. Yep.
So data hacks can come from the most unsuspecting places.
It's true.
And that's why this is, you know what? And that kind of data hack will get around your data blocker. So I think this is because it at least currently it would require a social component to hack this. I feel like this in a self-selecting way becomes a belt and suspenders approach, because the people who are going to buy and remember to use these, like you've literally just plugged, like, so if your mindset is, I need to protect myself, then as soon as you see the notification on your phone, you would say, wait, something is wrong. You're not on autopilot anymore. Yeah. Right? Whereas if you're just on autopilot and you're like, dude, I got to charge my phone. Like I got 10 minutes and I got 4% of my battery. I got to get as much as I can. You're just going to plug it in and hit yes. And you're going to forget to use your data blocker and all of that stuff. Right. I think, right. Done. So if you're in the mindset of protecting yourself, this is unnecessary. If you're not in the mindset of protecting yourself, you're going to forget to use this anyway. So to me, that's why I haven't bought one, I suppose, now that I think about it. But I don't know. Well, and plus your battery bricks that you carry.
Right. I charge myself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. So alas. All right. We got some questions to go through. We have time for that, which I love. And the next thing we want to do is tell you about some of our sponsors because, well, I think you know this by now that I live and die by good systems, right? Especially when juggling everything from podcast production to business opportunities. And that's why I love our sponsor, Coda. It's not just a dock. It is a full-blown collaborative workspace that blends the flexibility of docs with the structure of spreadsheets, and with their AI-powered Coda brain built with Grammarly's smarts, it's like having a team member who never sleeps. I use Coda with one of my other businesses, and it's just incredible how seamlessly it ties everything together. We were building out an org chart recently, and boom, instant collaboration, updates, visibility, no hunting for random Google Docs or wondering where the latest version is. Coda also connects with the tools you already use: Salesforce, Jira, Asana, Figma, you name it, right? It's fast, it's efficient, and it adapts to how you work. It's like giving your team superpowers without any, radioactive spider bites or anything like that. Don't get caught using outdated tools. Upgrade your workflow today. Head over to coda.io/MGG right now and get 6 months of the team plan for startups for free. I know. That's coda.io/MGG and get 6 months of the team plan for free. Coda.io/MGG. And our thanks to Coda for sponsoring this episode. And, you ever feel like tech is moving faster than you or your team can keep up with? That's exactly where our sponsor, IDEO U, comes in. I love this stuff. They've created online learning experiences built on the award-winning design methods of IDEO. Yes, that IDEO. And they've now added programs focused on AI and design thinking. Whether you're stepping into a leadership role, trying to keep your team fresh, or just want to boost your own impact, IDEO U has your back. Their courses are hands-on, practical, and built for real-world results. It's like installing an innovation OS upgrade on yourself. At Mac Geek Gab, we always say, don't get caught, especially not falling behind. IDEO U gives you a proven framework to lead, solve problems, and drive creative innovation with confidence. And, we talk about learning 5 new things. You're There's a great way to add even more. Class starts soon, so enroll today. For a limited time, IDEO U is offering our listeners 15% off site-wide. Go to IDEOU.com/MGG. That's IDEOU.com/MGG for 15% off. IDEOU.com/MGG. And our thanks to IDEO U for sponsoring this episode. All right. Bjorn, Adam? Right? I think Adam's muted.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But he was Bjorn. He's sitting there.
It usually
I could tell
comes
he was
off
Bjorn.
after the ad, but I think I had manually activated it before he
Got
went
it.
into the ads,
Yeah.
so it didn't. So Bjorn wrote in with the question. Says, "Hi guys, you recently helped a listener who had problems getting sound to play through the lightning cables on an iPhone. I have a problem in the similar vein that I hope you can help with. I have an audio app, more specifically, an older iPhone app that plays Norwegian hymns from the official hymnal. When I play any of the hymns, I can get audio through my AirPods or CarPlay, but when the phone is not connected to any other audio source, there is no sound coming through the iPhone speakers. Yes, I'm sure the volume is turned up. On my wife's iPhone, this works as it should. Any suggestions? Best regards, Bjorn."
Huh. That's fascinating to me. Where I'm curious about this is, I wonder if Apple Music, not the custom app, but Apple Music would play through the phone speaker in the same configuration, right? Is it something about the app? And I couldn't even begin to understand why that would be, but or is it kind of a larger issue with the iPhone itself? This seems very strange. Adam? Do you have any?
Well,
any
I doubt
thoughts?
it's the app because he says his wife's iPhone it works. So unless there's something specific to the model iPhone in the app, which would even be stranger. In my
That's
opinion.
true. When he said, I assumed he said on my wife's iPhone it works as it should. I made the assumption that maybe she doesn't have the same app.
Yeah, he says it's an older iPhone app that plays Norwegian hymns. So I'm assuming from the official hymnal. So I'm assuming it's an official Norwegian hymnal app, probably from wherever. That was my assumption in reading it. So, I mean, we may be assuming way too much.
Right.
But,
Well, we have to. It's kind of how it's part of the gig, right? We have to make some assumptions. So,
like another assumption I would assume, because he doesn't mention any other app playing through the iPhone speakers, because like the first place my head would go is, well, are your speakers busted on your iPhone? Like, do you get, but I presume, he wouldn't ask the question if he's getting sound out of his iPhone speakers from other apps, like he's hearing ringtones.
Are there other places? I know he's turned the volume up. So I guess my question is, are there other places on the iPhone, and accessibility, I'm looking at you, where you could do something that would cause the volume to be down, right? In a way that, and possibly, like I'm looking through here, but there's so many different things. Like, is it jumping to a sleeping Bluetooth speaker like we had, potentially earlier in the episode?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, is it connected to something? Put it in airplane mode. If assuming the hymns can be downloaded onto the device, right? Right. To put it into airplane mode, turn off Wi-Fi, turn off Bluetooth, go into control center, turn all that off, and see if it still happens. At least you're ruling out, like, is this an internal problem to the phone? Where it could be a setting or something, and it's nice to have his wife's iPhone there to compare and contrast. So you can say, like, yes, this does work here.
So another thought with it working on his wife's iPhone and not his, that could be because it's an older iPhone app, maybe app related. He's obviously playing it through his AirPods, his CarPlay. I would presume his wife doesn't connect to his AirPods or his CarPlay. So is it getting stuck? Like, is it again, like trying to send it to your AirPods, even though your AirPods aren't in, or or even on. That would be odd for it to do that. But again, that could be a software thing where it's like, all right, once it's hit Bluetooth audio, it just gets, it's a bug if it's an older app.
Yeah.
It's just locked in at that point, and it's not switching back.
Yeah.
And there's probably no setting to manually switch it out. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I would try Apple Music in that, like, when you're experiencing it, try Apple Music and see, is it just the app or is it the entire phone?
Right.
Because that would be an interesting piece of data to have as you troubleshoot this. Kiwi Graham in the live chat at macgeekgab.com/Discord or macgeekgab.com/stream, both will get you there. Says the app might have something like Chromecast ability, which is stuck enabled.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
There you go.
Right. Yeah. Is it playing it to your TV in the living room? Oh, that. Yeah. If your TV is, if the TV is in like sleep mode, but your sound bar's off or whatever, you wouldn't hear it, but it's still catching it. But turning off Wi-Fi data, airplane mode, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth will rule that out. You got another thought, Adam?
Well, a thought on the settings thing, assuming that app is still available to re-download,
Yeah.
it may be worth just deleting the app, which would clear its settings, and re-downloading it and see if that resets it and puts it back in a good state.
Love that. Yep. Cool. Let us know, Bjorn. And, as we've said throughout the episode, if you have ideas about this, feedback at macgeekgab.com. Shall we go to Craig?
We shall. Craig writes in, hi guys, picked up an M4 MacBook Air during Best Buy's $200 off and sales tax holiday in Florida, so $799 straight up. What a deal. Nicely done, Craig. During migration from an older MacBook Air i5, got to the point where I made the first attempt to back up via Time Machine to my Synology, inheriting a backup file from an old MacBook Air. Saw this message when configuring. Quote, future versions of Mac OS will no longer support AFP, Apple File Protocol, network disks to Time Machine backups. I recall hearing about that recently, and it was primarily a result of discontinuing support for Airport and Time Capsule in Mac OS. Upon checking my Synology settings, I was indeed using AFP setting under Control Panel File Services Advanced. He says the setting changed was related to enable Bonjour service discovery to locate disk station. Options existing for both AFP and SMB, that's server message block, I believe. And I have been using AFP. I vaguely recollect that when initially setting this up, AFP was recommended over SMB at the time, which was 5 to 8 years ago. Curious if any dangers to changing this over to SMB exist. Is that solely related to how to target the disk station is located and not related to the actual Time Machine backup execution? Thanks as always, listener Pensacola Craig.
So lots of questions to answer, but let me distill this all down. What we're talking about is the way that your Mac is talking over the network to your disk station. It doesn't change the way the backups are stored. It doesn't change anything about that. It is just the language that they are speaking over the network. And is SMB okay to use? Is it okay to stop using AFP? And not only is it okay to stop using AFP, it is highly, highly, highly recommended to use SMB for everything. Not just your Time Machine backups, but connecting from one Mac to another. SMB, you're right. If you go back and listen to this show 10 years ago, I don't know about 5 to 8, but certainly 10 years ago, we were saying 100% use AFP, use AFP, use AFP. We say the opposite now. Do not use AFP. Use SMB. I see you nodding your head out of it.
Yeah, that's just the right answer. Yes,
yeah.
It's fine. SMB is great, and you should be using it, and not AFP.
I would turn I would turn AFP off on your disk station.
Yep.
That way you will not be using it anymore. You'll probably have to reconfigure your Time Machine backups because I think your Mac will see it as a different drive. It might not, but there's a chance. And if so, it's fine. It'll pick it up and realize it's the same thing and go along. But yes. So there you go. Yeah. That is the answer. Moving on to David.
Yeah. So David has a question. He says, I have an iPhone 14 with iOS 18.5. I have an Apple Watch Generation 9. As a senior under care of a cardiologist, it is important to me to track my heart rate and recovery rate when I ride my bike. I recently switched from my Amazfit 6 back to my Apple Watch 9, as it is easier to see the heart rate during the ride. The Apple Watch records the recovery time under heart post-workout, displaying beats per minute for the first 2 minutes after one completes a workout. This is great. However, it does not populate the iPhone Health app automatically. On the iPhone, the data sources listed under cardio recovery are even blank and shaded to prevent manual entry of a source. You can enter the data manually in the iPhone Health app. I have read where several people online just gave up on trying to get an automatic feed. I tried a reset, but to no avail, but did not reinstall the Health app as it required another unpairing, and I was concerned that I would lose data. Is the only way to enter this for trending on the iPhone to enter it manually into the iPhone? The iPhone Health app shows a heart rate cumulatively, so why not the recovery? Is this something that one has to pay extra for via another app or service from Apple? Asking the experts, David.
So can I just summarize this?
Yeah, there's a lot in there.
Before I know, Pete, you dug into this, but it seems like what the problem is, the Apple Watch is recording the post exercise recovery time, your cool down time for 2 minutes. And that for some reason, that granular level of data is not being sent over to the Health app. It's just staying on the Apple Watch and not going anywhere. Is that
correct?
That's the problem. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Just wanted I wanted clarification for Dave. Now, what did you find, Pete?
So, I think the answer is no. You don't have to enter it manually. There's no third-party apps or anything like that. And I was able to find other people that had this same problem. I went into my iPhone and looked, and the Health app did indeed record the cool down, post-workout cool down cardio recovery at 1 minute and 2 minute intervals. And you can actually see a trend if you go back, a week, a month, 6 months, that sort of thing. You can see that trend line there, and it was all right there. And I'm going, well, so why am I not getting it? And I went and looked. I've got a Ultra first gen watch, and he has the Series 9. He said, but that didn't seem to be it. So what I think is going on is I found where Apple did a change where you need to actually physically end the workout. If you forget to end your workout, it's going to turn itself off at some point. Say, and sometimes it'll even ask you, hey, do you want to end your workout? Oh, yeah, I finished an hour ago. Whoops. And it's not going to record your cool down then because it has no idea really when you ended your workout. So you have to physically now end that workout in order to get the Apple Watch to do the heart rate cardio recovery. So the first thing you're going to want to do is check your permissions. Go to health permissions on the phone, and open the watch app. Open the watch app on the iPhone. Go to privacy, health, and ensure that that's toggled on so you can do your heart rate and your fitness tracking and your workout. Those all need to be toggled on so that can send the data over to your phone.
But isn't that already happening? I mean, if his heart rate. Oh.
No, you have to trigger those on. The watch will not share it. Oh.
But isn't his heart rate from his watch already making it to his phone? It's just the cool down that's not making it, right?
Well, yes, correct.
So presumably
but if your heart rate isn't toggled on, it's not going to send it either.
Yes.
For sure. It's all permissions. But so the next part is to go to the Health app on the phone, tap your profile picture, go to the devices, choose your Apple Watch, and get to the privacy settings and confirm your heart rate, workout, and active energy are all enabled. And then if that's all good, you can kind of skip down to part 3 of it. But if those settings are already set, then you'll go down to unpair and repair to force the data sync. And he's worried about data loss, and that's what part 3 talks about, how to do it without data loss. And that's why I asked pre-show, is there a way to get this answer into the show notes? I think is the
put it in Discord, and then we'll link that Discord chat to the show notes.
There we go. I will do that. So essentially, you're forcing once you've checked those settings, if you've changed any of them, then force a cardio recovery by doing another workout of at least 20 minutes. It says 10 minutes in my answer, but I read somewhere later at least 20 minutes. Then manually end it, and then make sure you don't kill anything on your watch for at least 2 minutes, so it will do your cardio recovery.
Is this another link? Is this from ChatGPT? Because if it is, we could just link to the chat. Or if you found an article.
I found an article on Mac. It wasn't Mac Rumors.
We can link to that.
Yeah. Well, I got to find out where. There was also an Apple support discussion in there.
You pulled it all together. You synthesized it. Yeah. So, Discord's the answer. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Then unpair and repair is part 3, and I tell them, you're right to be concerned about data loss, and then I go through step by step. Basically, you're turning on iCloud Health backup enabled, and make sure you do a backup. Get it all in there, then you can unpair and repair the watch, which is a long process. That's going to be frustrating, but by making sure you've got the backup before you do that, you won't lose your health data. It will stay with you. I'm on, I don't know, several iterations of watches. I don't know how many years now, and I went and looked back. I've got health data from my watch to my health app on my phone dating back to like 2018. So I have a question, though. As long as you have an iCloud backup, you shouldn't lose data.
Is the iCloud backup of your health data a backup from the health data as it exists on your watch or as it exists on your phone? I think it's the latter.
I believe it's on the phone.
Right. Yeah. So if his workout recovery data has not transferred from the watch to the phone, then iCloud backup is not going to have that. Right. I mean, but I agree with you that if it's not syncing over, that this is the answer.
So I've sort of got your answer in here. As it goes, ensure you got the backup. Back out one level, scroll down to make sure iCloud backup is on. Tap backup now and wait for it to complete. Unpair the Apple Watch. This backs it up automatically.
Backs up the watch automatically. Yes.
But then open the watch app, tap all watches next to the watch, unpair the watch, and then go back in. So it says when you unpair the watch, it will back it up to the phone before it leaves.
It'll back up the watch to the phone.
And I think it has to, because that's how I got my, when you go set up a new watch, it says, do you want to set it up new or do you want to?
Right. But that's the question. I think in this case, setting it up new would be the answer, because you don't want to inherit the settings that are keeping it from doing this.
And that data did not sync, so it
I don't think you're going to get it. I think if you want this data historically, you would need to enter it manually. Yeah. But I agree that this is the approach I would take to
But if it's backing up the whole watch as opposed to syncing the watch, it may be there.
Well, whether it's there or not, you probably aren't going to restore that data to your watch, right? I mean, you could try it. Like that would be if you have unlimited time, then the process would be back up the watch, erase the watch, restore the watch from the backup you just made, and see if the problem is solved, because it could be.
Yeah.
And then if it's not solved, back up the watch or not, it doesn't matter, because you've got a recent backup, but you're not going to use it. Erase the watch and don't restore the watch. Set it up as new in hopes that then unsticks this problem. But you might lose that data. That's just the reality of it. I mean, or enter it manually. But
which is a major pain. There's no doubt about it.
For sure.
I was just thinking if the whole watch would go. And then Matthew makes a point in in the chat that or on comments on YouTube that making sure all the switches are flipped is important. Sometimes after an OS update, a major one, he goes back in and checks his permissions to make sure that they're all, in fact, the switches are all flipped on.
Yeah.
On the entering the data manually, this came up on MacCast like a long time ago. Somebody had a scale, and this is a similar kind of thing, but it was the scale. They were in the UK, and they wanted their weight recorded in stones instead of pounds.
Okay.
And there obviously wasn't a way to do that, but you could manually kind of get that into the data. So I went through and wrote like a shortcut that would pop up and say, okay, what's the weight? And then it would convert it and then put it into the health app. So I think you can have shortcuts right to the health app. I'm
Yes. 100%.
Great
sure.
idea.
Oh, no,
So
you
you might be able to write
Yeah.
a quick little script that hopefully there's a trigger for like ending a workout or something like that. And then you could just have it run an a shortcut, and then it would pop up and say, okay, what was your cooldown heart rate?
Yep.
And then plug it in that way and have it enter that way for you. It wouldn't be fully automatic, but you probably could set up something semi-automatic.
I like that. Yeah. And you're right. A shortcut can 100% write to the health app. I've used it to do exactly what you said, to enter my weight when before I had a scale that linked to everything and published my weight to some Chinese directory or something. I would manually enter it, and it was easy. So yeah, fun stuff. Yupper. Yeah, there you go. Lots of stuff. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's an easy answer for this. It seems weird that it's not doing that sync, but just how it is. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to have to. I just tried to put it in there, and I'm 1,500 characters over the 2,000 character limit. So I'm going to create a PDF file and upload it that way.
No. Create in like MGG help desk. Create a new topic, and then you can put multiple messages in, and then that way it's its own thing. And if people have comments or other thoughts, they can put it in there, and that's kind of the beauty of Discord, is like having that threaded thing where you can, and someone who comes along 6 months down the road with a similar problem can find that, and off they go.
Yeah.
MacGeekGab.com/Discord, folks, is where that magic little bit of our lives lives, and it's pretty good. Yeah, I think that's. I think we've hit our time, gentlemen.
I hear something.
Yeah, same. There it is. It's the band. They're back. Fun. Yep. Here we are.
And there we go.
There we go. Thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure to check out our monthly giveaway. We are working with the folks at I want to say
Eternal
Default
Storms?
Folder. No. Eternal Storms is our sponsor, one of our sponsors. It's the folks at St. Clair Software who make Default Folder, because we're giving away you can win one of 5 licenses of Default Folder. And it's just the beginning of the month here. There's a few hundred entries, and we know that there will be many more, but that's why we're giving away 5, so that everybody has a good chance to win one of our favorite little apps that we use. So yeah, go check it out. Thanks to them for doing that with us. Thanks to Cashfly for sponsoring this episode. Make sure, if you haven't had enough of us, go listen to Pete at So There I Was. Go listen to Adam at the Debut Film Podcast, and come listen to me at Gig Gab and Business Brain. Reminds me, I've got to go and publish it, this week's Gig Gab. It was with Keith Harris, the drummer from the Black Eyed Peas.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, and he just finished doing a music directing the Backstreet Boys at Sphere. So there's fun stuff, geeky, nerdy. But, would you expect anything else? Adam, what would you expect? Would you say anything about any of that?
I would expect to not get caught, so don't get caught.
Made on a Mac.
Later.